Now let's start with what appears to be another provocation by North Korea. Pyongyang has launched two unidentified projectiles into the East Sea just hours ago. This is the regime's first launch this year, the previous one happening 95 days ago. Our Defense Ministry correspondent Kim Ji-yeon is on the line for us. Ji-yeon, what's the latest?
South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff has confirmed that North Korea fired two projectiles from Wonsan towards the East Sea this afternoon at around 12:37 p.m. The Joint Chiefs said the maximum flight altitude was some 35 kilometers and the flight distance was around 240 kilometers. It said the South Korean military is currently monitoring the situation while maintaining a defense posture in case of additional launches, and is closely working with the U.S. to verify more information about this latest launch. It also said the North is continuing its strike drill initiated last Friday. The Joint Chiefs call for the North to refrain from engaging in such actions that do not help in lowering tensions on the Korean peninsula. This message was reiterated by Cheongwade, which convened an emergency meeting of security-related ministers this afternoon, presided over by National Security Director Chung Eui-yong to discuss North Korea's firing of the projectiles. It also expressed strong concern about North Korea's continued strike drills around Wonsan. One of the biggest conundrums is the timing of the latest launch, when most of the world, including North Korea, is taking special measures to contain the coronavirus outbreak. The launch also comes quite early in the year when compared to previous years. The first missile launch conducted by the North last year was on May 4th. A South Korean military source says the timing of the launch signifies the coronavirus situation in the North is actually so serious that could even threaten the stability of the regime, although the North has claimed that it does not have a single confirmed case. The source says the motive behind North Korea's recent launch is not to gain an upper hand in denuclearization for the U.S. or pressure the South Korean government, but for the Kim Jong-un regime to consolidate power within North Korea by turning its military's focus onto external international factors. The latest launch also comes despite the postponement by South Korea and the U.S. of the combined command post training that was initially slated for later this month. Last year, the regime test launched missiles 13 times amid the stalled denuclearization talks with the U.S. Those launches included new types of short-range ballistic missiles and a submarine-launched ballistic missile. In its New Year's message, Pyongyang warned it would show off a new strategic weapon in the near future. That's all for now.
That was our Defense Ministry correspondent Kim Ji-yeon on the line with the latest on North Korea's projectile launch. Thank you, Ji-yeon. Now let's get to the latest on the COVID-19 outbreak here in South Korea. The number of confirmed cases in the country has soared past 4,200 now, with the national death toll at 26. For more on that, we connect to our Oh Jung-hee, who is on the line. Jung-hee, tell us more.
Aram, according to data released by the health authorities this morning and reconfirmed at a briefing about an hour ago, the number of confirmed patients stands at 4,212. This is an increase of 476 cases compared to Sunday. Of those, 377 are concentrated in the southeastern city of Daegu, bringing the total in Daegu to over 3,000. The surrounding Gyeongsang-Bukdo province saw around 70 new cases for a total of more than 600. Confirmed today, there were 4 more deaths, bringing South Korea's death toll now to 26. The recent deaths were mostly people in their 50s to 80s, and most of them had underlying pre-existing health conditions such as diabetes or high blood pressure.
Now, Jung-hee, as the number of patients soars, especially in the southeast of the country, South Korea's health authorities have decided to overhaul their treatment system. Tell us more about that.
That is right, Aram. Recently in Daegu City, 4 people who've been waiting to be hospitalized died. And according to the health authorities, out of nearly 3,100 confirmed patients, only about 1,000 are hospitalized. The rest are isolating themselves. So to make sure all confirmed patients get the necessary treatment, the government will now separate patients according to their symptoms. Those with serious symptoms will be hospitalized first, put into hermetically sealed medical centers. Those with mild symptoms will be taken care of in separate living facilities, where medical teams will be monitoring patients frequently to hospitalize as quickly as possible those whose symptoms worsen. And a few hundred patients will be moved to other cities to be treated. That is all from me for now. Back to you.
Our Oh Jung-hee on the line for us with the latest on COVID-19 in South Korea. Thank you, Chung-hee. Now, the South Korean military is to deploy some 1,000 medical staff to hospitals to help fight the coronavirus outbreak. Up until now, the military has already deployed more than 1,000 soldiers to help quarantine efforts, including providing translators at ports and airports. The military hospital in Daegu, the nation's designated hospital for infectious diseases, will start admitting civilians on Thursday. One army officer based in Daegu was confirmed to have the virus earlier today, raising the number of confirmed cases in the military to 28. Currently, some 9,800 military personnel have been quarantined in their homes or at separate locations on their bases. Now, more and more countries are restricting entry from South Korea due to fears over the coronavirus. Seoul's foreign ministry is working to reduce the inconvenience caused to Koreans traveling overseas. Our Hong Yu reports.
At least 80 countries or regions within countries are restricting the entry of people coming from South Korea. That is more than 40% of UN member states who have restricted entry, either through stronger quarantine measures or outright entry bans. 36 countries have imposed an entry ban, with Turkey joining the group on Sunday. Vietnam, one of South Korea's major new Southern policy partner states, has stopped visa-free entry for Koreans and imposed a total entry ban for South Koreans that have departed from or transferred in Daegu or Gyeongsangbuk-do province. Koreans with visas who are coming from a different region have to self-quarantine for 2 weeks. This decision comes right after Seoul's foreign minister Kang Kyung-hwa and her Vietnamese counterpart discussed the issue over the phone. Seoul's foreign ministry has also lodged a complaint over Vietnam's unannounced ban on Korean flights landing in that country. An Asiana Airlines flight was turned back while en route to Hanoi on Saturday after authorities there refused to let the plane land. The ministry summoned the Vietnamese ambassador to Seoul to complain about the inconvenience caused. And 44 other countries, along with some parts of China, have strengthened their entrance screening procedures. Kazakhstan and Nigeria are the latest to up their screenings. Nigeria is conducting a self-quarantine for foreigners coming in from South Korea, China, Italy, Iran, and Japan. In response to the growing number of countries restricting the entry of people traveling from South Korea, the Foreign Ministry is reassuring countries by informing them transparently about the government measures to combat COVID-19. For instance, Foreign Minister Kang Kyung-hwa spoke with her counterpart from the United Arab Emirates on Sunday to assure the UAE that South Korea is doing its utmost to contain the spread. The UAE has so far not imposed restrictions on travelers from South Korea. Hong Yu, Arirang News.
Now, the number of coronavirus cases around the world has reached nearly 90,000, with almost 3,000 deaths worldwide. Countries are on high alert, and one of the world's most famous museums has shut down without notice. Our Choi Jung-yoon reports.
In China, 42 more people have died from the coronavirus as of Sunday, bringing the total death toll to more than 2,900. China's National Health Commission says a total of some 80,000 people have been confirmed to have the virus. The country confirmed 202 new cases overnight, showing some slowdown in the rate of increase. Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan saw nearly 150 cases combined, along with 3 deaths. The virus continues to spread outside of China as the outbreak reached more than 65 nations. New York State has confirmed its first coronavirus case, bringing the total number of cases in the United States to 76. A woman in her 30s who contracted the virus after traveling to Iran is under quarantine in her home. Iran saw its death toll climb on Sunday from 11 to 54, the highest number of deaths outside of China. According to Iran's health ministry, the number of people in the country confirmed to have the virus jumped overnight to 978, the majority of which are in Tehran. Over in Europe, Italy had a 40% surge in new coronavirus cases and 34 deaths. The number of patients in the country rose to 1,694 after Italy revealed 566 new cases on Sunday. The latest tally given by Germany's Center for Disease Control and Prevention showed that the number of cases had almost doubled from 66 to 129. The deadly virus has now reached 9 of Germany's 16 states, with Frankfurt, Hamburg, and Bremen all reporting their first COVID-19 cases. France reported 130 cases of coronavirus on Sunday evening, a rise from 100 cases recorded earlier in the day. Meanwhile, the Louvre, the world's most visited museum, was shuttered on Sunday after staff refused to open the museum over coronavirus fears. This comes as the French government announced several measures at the weekend to try to curb the outbreak in France, including canceling all gatherings of more than 5,000 people in confined spaces. 최정윤, 아리랑 뉴스.
Media outlets in Germany have praised what they called South Korea's transparency in tackling the coronavirus outbreak. Spiegel Online said Seoul is not only working to provide great quality medical care, but is also focusing on offering, quote, thorough transparency. And Frankfurter Rundschau Online, comparing how South Korea and China have responded to the outbreak, said the reason for the high number of infections in South Korea is because of the country's excellent diagnostic capabilities, free press and democratic system. A panel during a talk show from Germany's public broadcaster ZDF also said South Korea is coping with the outbreak rationally. Turning to other news now, and in the U.S., the former mayor of South Bend, Indiana, Pete Buttigieg, is ending his campaign for the White House. He cancelled a Sunday night rally in Dallas, Texas, and a Monday morning fundraiser in Austin to return to his hometown. The decision comes shortly before Super Tuesday, the biggest primary day of the year, with the Democratic race looking more and more like a contest between Senator Bernie Sanders and former Vice President Joe Biden. Despite a successful start, analysts say Buttigieg struggled to win support from African-American voters and on Saturday finished a distant fourth in South Carolina. His departure leaves 6 Democrats still running. K-pop superstars BTS are dominating the albums charts in the US and the UK. The band's new album, Map of the Soul 7, has reached #1 on both the US Billboard 200 and the UK's official albums chart 100. Kan Young-woo reports.
BTS are back on top again. With their new album, Map of the Soul 7, released about 10 days ago, the K-pop band has landed straight on the #1 spot on the US Billboard 200 and the UK official albums chart 100. According to the US Billboard, BTS's album racked up 2020's largest weekly sales so far. Map of the Soul 7 becomes BTS's 4th #1 album in the US in just a little over a year and 9 months after their first release, Love Yourself Tear, in June 2018. The last band to land 4 #1s faster than BTS was the Beatles, who took a year and 5 months to achieve the same feat between July 1966 and January 1968. On the UK official chart, Map of the Soul 7 is the fastest-selling album of the year up to date. The boy band also became the first Korean artist to score 2 #1s on the British album chart. Meanwhile, fans of BTS, also known as the ARMY, have shown their love to those suffering from the coronavirus outbreak in South Korea. According to the Hope Bridge Korea Disaster Relief Association on Sunday, it has received about $320,000 under the names of BTS and ARMY. BTS member Suga chipped in more than $80,000 himself. Some fans have also donated their ticket refunds to COVID-19 relief efforts after BTS were forced to cancel their Seoul concerts scheduled for April due to safety concerns. Kanyo, Arirang News.
Okay, well, that's all the news that we have for you at this hour. Join us again at 5 p.m. for more Arirang News. Until then, goodbye.